This podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Anything discussed during this podcast does not, and is not intended to, constitute legal advice. Instead, all content is for general entertainment purposes only. Listeners should contact their attorney to obtain advice with respect to any particular legal matter. Listening to, contacting us, or any of the links or resources contained within this podcast and/or website does not create an attorney-client relationship. The views expressed during this podcast are those of the individual lawyers in their individual personal capacities only.
All the legal ladies, all the legal ladies, all the legal ladies, all the legal ladies.
Welcome to All the Legal Ladies. Unwind with us as we navigate the fascinating world of legal tales, precedents, and the occasional objection-worthy joke. I'm Kat. This has kind of been a baby of mine that we get to start here with my partners, both with the law firm and friends.
Oh, I'm Marsha.
I'm Alycia, and I am here not entirely willingly.
So, ladies, anything exciting happen over the weekend?
We took the children to Great Wolf Lodge, and I hope someday that they have 2 or 3 children each who are just like them. That being said, we did have a very nice time.
Yep, and I binge watch Traders, thanks to Tiffany, who is an attorney here. Well, I don't know if you know where here is, but who is an attorney with our firm. So I binge watched the first season of Traders, and it was very good.
What's Traders about?
It is a game show, so a group of people come together in this mansion in Scotland, and the first season at least, 3 people were identified as traitors. Mm-hmm. So they had to, vote out murder or undead. I don't know.
I would definitely vote out murder.
Unlife, whatever they call it.
Voting murder out of it.
Their fellow contestants.
Oh.
So if any traitors remained at the end in the group, they won the pot of money.
Okay.
But if the faithfuls, as they were called, remained without any traitors in the group, then they won the pot of money.
Interesting.
It was interesting.
Did a traitor win?
A traitor won.
Yep.
Could you do it better?
No. No. I would give it away. I mean, it's a lot of deception. Yeah. So, and then murdering your friends that you become close with. So, but it was a good show. I enjoyed it. Looking forward to season 2. It's an all-star cast, I guess. Tiffany told me to watch it because there were some Real Housewives. That's my guilty pleasure, watching Real Housewives.
Nice. Well, I guess I should fill in. We are Williams, McLernon, and Stack, the law firm. And we decided to do this podcast as part of our law firm.
Kat decided.
And yet you guys agreed and are here. So that's exciting. About 5 years ahead of schedule.
After 5 years, you did wear me down. Like water on stone.
Yes. Yes, I did. All right. So we are going to break this up into a couple different sections. So our first segment is going to be next on the docket, where we discuss legal topics for the week. So it's Women's History Month, at least when this is going to be published. And we're going to talk about supporting women attorneys with children.
Yes.
So,
and if the title didn't give it away, we are all attorneys.
Yes.
All the legal ladies.
And women.
And women. Women attorneys.
identify as women, yes.
Yes.
So the ABA Commission on Women in the Profession published a survey that focused on lawyers with children, especially mothers, and developing their careers, what legal employers can do to make sure they obtain successful opportunities. So some statistics that I wanted to bring out. 61% of mothers versus 26% of fathers in firms have experienced demeaning comments about being a working parent. Does that surprise anybody?
No, that sounds like everywhere.
60% of mothers and only 25% of fathers in firms noted feeling that they were perceived as less committed to their careers.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense because, if a dad goes to an event, he's father of the year. And if a mom goes to an event, you're leaving work early again.
37% of mothers versus 22% of fathers in firms said they were denied additional compensation. I wonder if that's, sick leave for going out for the children or
Bonuses. Or
Not being considered for promotions.
65% of mothers reported arranging for childcare, and 47% of the mothers said they leave work for their children's needs. Only 7% of the fathers arrange childcare, and only 17% of the fathers said they take on the responsibilities of leaving work for their children. So is there any points that you've either of you have felt demeaned in being a mother in the legal field?
I haven't felt demeaned because thankfully I've had all women supervisors who had children themselves and were understanding. The only time that I really felt bad, and it's not being demeaned, it was just that I felt I didn't have enough time to do the activities that I wanted to when my son was younger, because again, I was working and in court most of the time or traveling most of the time. So I feel like I've missed out on some things like field trips. My husband would go on field trips or school plays or things of that nature. But now that I have this job, I'm not missing out anymore. So
That's good.
what about you?
My first child reverse cycled on me, where she was nursing only at nighttime and not during the day, and somehow I survived that. But in order to keep feeding her, I had to pump during the day to keep my supply up, and my employer at the time was not very supportive. Even though I had a private office, they were upset that I put things on the counter to wash and made it seem when I left there that they had done me this big favor by letting me pump at work. And it's like, that's actually under federal law, but thanks. But here it was a different story having my child here. So
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to think, like, my first pregnancy, I had a miscarriage, and so my bosses were so caring and understanding around that, and, like, gave me time off around it. And then I was, working for a woman during my second pregnancy when my daughter was born, and I know for a fact that my getting pregnant when I did so soon after starting there made her life really hard. And she did not let me know it for a second. And was very caring and understanding and supportive. I was so lucky to have, judges and magistrates offer me places to pump in the courthouse. So it's just super, super lucky. And then when I was pregnant with my son, I had a change in boss during the time. My first male boss since I did restaurant work in college. I did not work for him for very long because we started this firm. But I will say one of my top moments was discussion of, like, my going out maternity leave, and it's you don't need to substitute in your cases, like, you can just forward the emails. Like, I'm not going to be on my email while I'm on maternity leave. And then told me that, I could just finish something up during my breaks with the baby.
breaks with the baby.
Wash the dishes when the baby washes the dishes. Write client's notes when the baby writes client notes. I just,
it's vacation. You're taking vacation.
Yeah. Somehow I feel like the company paying my short-term disability wouldn't have looked too kindly on me also working for them while they paid my short-term disability. So I did send a little note that I would not be committing fraud on behalf of that employer.
That's probably a good idea.
Prefer working for women.
Or yourself.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Although I feel like I'm not as nice to myself as some bosses have been.
How is it in your homes?
I mean, I would say my home's pretty different from that. I mean, luckily, when our kids were born, Pat working for the government, it was a little easier for him to take off. And in fact, he took off more time than I did for doctor's appointments, leaving work early for daycare pickups and that sort of thing. I'd say it's a little more even now, but, he works from home. So if the kids stay home sick, that's easier too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when I first started, Corey, my husband, was doing mostly the pick up from daycare or taking off, because where I worked previously, I was either always in court or on the road traveling to visit clients. And so he was good at that. We had a schedule. He could make it to daycare before 5:30, whereas there was no guarantee that I could make it to daycare. So he was the good father and husband that he ought to be, and that all men ought to be.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I mean, it shouldn't just be ours. Yeah. I had similar experience when I was with a different private firm. I had to be there longer, and so my husband also works for the government, was able to take off more time. But that was one of the perks of starting this law firm together, right? Was to make sure that we have time to go to our children's events, and as bosses, we don't care.
Yeah, and I think with that brings a little more confidence, whereas before, if I was in court, I don't know that I would have said anything. And now, I've been like, well, I have to be out of here by this time because I'm picking up my kids today.
Yep.
And, that's kind of the end of it. Whereas I think earlier I would not have had the confidence to
That's true.
say that.
Also being able to say, no, I can't do something on that date because I have a prearranged concert for my children, or Valentine's Day, or...
Right. Yeah, it's easier now that we're our own bosses because schools let you know things at the last minute. And so now that we can sort of work our own schedule, we can take off at those last minute opportunities when they tell you a week or two, not even 2 weeks sometimes, ahead of time that, oh, there's a concert. You should come. Or, oh, there's a field trip.
Why does my kid know 3 months in advance that they're having a concert and I find out 2 weeks in advance? Why?
And I also think we try to have an atmosphere that will cover each other's work if we need to make that happen, because we're lucky that our children are in slightly different schools, so it doesn't overlap so much. So,
Yes. Yep.
So how do you think legal employers can support women with children more than what we've talked about? Like in general, like.
Well, I think having the perspective that, family does come first. I mean, we all have deadlines, you have things you have to meet, but there's so much flexibility that you can offer, and I think it's crazy that places don't.
And I think naturally, if more women are in positions of power, then that just comes from the top down, how you want to be treated or how employees should want to be treated, and not penalizing women for being mothers and uplifting our fathers for being fathers. That stereotypical role, father should be at work, mother should take care of the children, but realizing that we are all parents and we all have an equal say, or should want to have an equal say in raising our children. So realizing that when women take off or when they go out on maternity leave, that they are still capable of being good employees when they come back. And we shouldn't be penalized for having to bear the children.
Well, it's just crazy to me. Like when I was pregnant with my daughter, my husband was going to take, I think, 3 weeks off after the birth. And he said something to his supervisor at the time. And the supervisor said, well, I don't know if you can do that. And, I did know that he could do that. It's like, you can take 12. You can't take 3 weeks. And I think that was kind of a turning point for us because that made him mad enough that he did turn in his leave, and he took a full 6 weeks off after our daughter was born, and then he took 8 when our son was born. And I don't know if he would have if that supervisor had not made him angry. Yeah. But now it's the culture is changing a little bit, and he takes pride in being a part of that changing culture and talking about the fact that he took leave when his kids were born, and that's expected that you will take leave for your kids. It will expected that you will be involved in things for them. And that's how he talks to other people at his workplace. I think that's how we talk about things here. We expect that our employees are going to have lives.
Yes.
And the government definitely is going that way, since they now actually have a separate maternity, paternity leave. You don't have to use your annual leave, which of course I just missed last time with our baby being born a month before that. But my first paid maternity leave was here with this firm. Nowhere else gave me any paid, so we had to take it unpaid. So yeah, I think there's a lot that can do and a lot that can move forward. Like you said, so we can have more representation in the law.
Yes.
Makes such a difference when you have someone who knows and understands, not just as, co-counsel, although I've had those conversations where, oh, I'm sorry, my kid is sick this week. I've been home with them. I'll get to that to you as soon as I can. Having someone who understands that on the other side, but also having judges who've had children who know what it's like to have to schedule summer camps, know what it's like to get last minute notice from school. It makes such a difference.
Representation matters.
Sure does.
Absolutely. All right, so it's time for recess. We're going to spin a wheel and see what game we will be playing. We're going to play it each time.
All right.
Go ahead, Marsha, give it a spin.
2 lies and a lawsuit.
Oh. So we're going to be given 3 scenarios, and we're going to guess which one is the real lawsuit.
So, 2 lies and a lawsuit. First one, a man wanted to legally change his age to find more success on Tinder. Second, a woman sued a nail shop because the smell of the nail polish made her nauseous. Or third, a man sued an airline for not having enough variety of snacks available. So 2 out of the 3 are lies, and 1 is an actual lawsuit.
I'm going to go with the nail salon as the real one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that one kind of feels a little bit legitimate to me.
I will go with the, A man wanted to legally change his age to find success on Tinder. 'Cause that's just funny to me.
Marsha's the winner.
Yay!
Oh my goodness. What would even be the basis of changing your name, or I mean your
His
age legally?
Like, who do you file against? Do you file against the Department of Health for issuing your birth certificate?
So in 2018, a 69-year-old Dutchman wanted to legally change his age in order to avoid ageism. Emil Rattleban, excuse me if I'm pronouncing your last name wrong, claimed he felt discriminated against because his real age was affecting his job prospects as well as his chances of success on Tinder.
He lost.
He lost.
Yeah.
So that feels right.
So did he sue Tinder?
Well, it sounds
Or
like he's
the
sued
government.
state. So if
Sounds like
he's
the government, I guess.
Dutch,
Yeah.
He's
so
Dutch.
that's the Netherlands?
Yeah, so he sued the government to change his name. Okay.
Yeah, I guess like here in the United States, you'd have to sue the Department of Health and
Yeah.
Hygiene, right? Because they're the ones who issue
Vital
your birth
records.
certificates, vital records. Yeah, crazy. All right, so our last segment is going to be childhood traumas, where we read wild case stories from attorneys on Reddit. So, would you like to take this one?
Okay. This is posted by Sam07R. I was a young associate acting as second chair. My boss, owner of the firm, was an older lady. She was trying to admit a rebuttal exhibit and opened up a pocket in her briefcase, frantically looking for an exhibit sticker to mark the rebuttal exhibit. Well, it turns out that pocket was where she also stored her emergency underwear, neatly folded in a little plastic sandwich bag. She accidentally flings it out, and it lands in front of me and the client. She didn't realize what she had done, so I had to try to hide her underwear before opposing counsel or the judge noticed.
Oh my.
Emergency underwear?
Emergency underwear. I mean, I
I
guess
think I'm pretty prepared when I go around, but I've never packed emergency underwear for court, that's for sure.
no.
Maybe she had incontinence.
Maybe.
But emergency underwear in your pocket of your...
Of course, the first thing that caught me is just, I'm like, you have to supply your own exhibit stickers? I just go digging through my bag for an exhibit sticker.
Yes, thankfully they do provide that in our court system.
Yeah.
Annoying the court clerk over and over again.
Well, it's a nice little mental break, right? Walking it up to the clerk so that you
Get your
can
steps in.
Yes.
Why does it matter that she's an older lady? That's what.
Probably due to the incontinence.
That would be my guess.
Maybe.
Well, now they make those really like fancy Depends
Yes,
stuff. I
that
saw
look
it
like
in-
underwear.
Yep, I saw it in BJ's when I was walking by
Me
this
too.
morning.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for tuning into this episode of All the Legal Ladies. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok. If you're watching us on YouTube, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and listen to the audio on your favorite digital streaming platform. Until next time, remember, do not tell your employees to commit fraud.